Allahu Akbar!
Welcome back, everybody, to the Syrian Civil War series I have on this channel. So, 4 months ago, when the invasion of Rojava happened, October of 2019, I made this series, and the feedback was amazing. So, it's back due to popular demand. We're going to be talking mainly about Aleppo and Idlib, probably for the first 15 days or so of this series. But no matter what side you're on, I think it's important to know what's happening in all of Syria, and I'm going to be explaining it day by day. Today's February 17th, 2020, and we're going to be starting in Tal Rifaat, the last YPG stronghold from the invasion of Afrin 2 years ago. The only thing we see in Tal Rifaat is artillery bombardments, which is normal for that area. It's been being bombed by the Turks for the last 2 years. But I wouldn't suspect that means anything bigger. The only thing new we see, though, is movement from the Assad regime, the Syrian Arab Army backed by the Russians, into the southwestern leg of Tal Rifaat. And they were staging for an attack yesterday in Tal Rifaat. So it looks like the YPG has allowed them to go in there, and they ended up taking that land that they were staging for. As you can see, all these icons, basically what they mean: the flag means captured town or village, the rifles mean skirmishes, the bombs mean artillery and airstrikes. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. They've taken over that land after surrounding it by three sides, creating a pocket, a vacuum, and they went in there. If you're rooting for the Assad regime, today is a good day to be you. I mean, the last 2 months is a good time to be you. I mean, it's been really amazing, the advances that they're having in Idlib. I'm actually lucky enough to have a subscriber who lives in Aleppo right now, so I'm getting secondhand accounts of what is happening during this whole involvement of Assad versus the rebels. She's talking about how she's a college student, her exams were paused for a day because of the bombings. I mean, it was really intense. Well, now I would suspect, I'm going to get back to her, but I would suspect there's probably not any bombings anymore. I mean, it's so far off, about, it looks like maybe 20 kilometers away from Aleppo. We see even a front line. So, I mean, it's a good time to be in Aleppo. Looks like the civilians are celebrating in the streets, and she herself is a displaced person from Afrin. So, I mean, it's very interesting that all of Syria is so combined right now, and there's so many displaced people. It looks like about 1 million from this Idlib province. Well, let's get back on track. Why did they invade that pocket right there? And why are it's looking like they're going to be continuing on with the advance as we see artillery bombardments? It's because south of that area, we see the M5 highway. They want to completely isolate the M5 highway because 2 months ago, the M5 highway was captured by the rebels. Who are the rebels? It's the Free Syrian Army, FSA, and the HTS, which is an Al-Qaeda offshoot. They're both backed and funded by Turkey, and I mean, they've lost a lot of ground recently. So Turkey and Russia are really butting heads right now. But we'll see later on in this video, when I go to Rojava, we see they're doing some joint patrols again. So it looks like something happened politically, but I don't want to speculate too much. And again, with the M5 highway, I want to point out that this is a very strategic highway. I mean, this is arguably the reason why the rebels held this land for the last decade, right? It's a really nice road. I mean, it's not like a highway in the US, but it's paved. It's nice. So it allows hourly transportation of anything you want. Say you only have a couple anti-air missiles. Well, if it's all the way in the south and you don't have a nice paved road to get up to the north when there's a bunch of airstrikes, well, you're kind of screwed. I mean, it's going to take a couple days to get them up there. If you're a rebel right now, I mean, it's a tough day to be you. It looks like 12 hours ago in Idlib, there's a rebel base that have 40 militants. They were all like huddled together, I guess, and they all got destroyed by an airstrike. So look, I mean, the rebels, it's looking like it's their last days. I want to cover it. That's why you should be subscribed. So continuing on this M5 highway sort of front line that's occurred, we see some more artillery bombardments just west of Marat al-Numan and west of Sarakib. Nothing too much, though. We don't see any ground invasion just yet. It looks like they're going to be pushing more in the north, as we saw near Aleppo. But regardless, that's the Idlib area today. South of Idlib, we see Turkish transport. Turkey still has outposts within Assad's land. And this is because it's been taken over. It's been basically steamrolled by the Assad regime. And now they're just sitting there. So they have nothing to do. They're just looking out at some desert. Also of note, it's very cold there. Apparently it's been snowing in Aleppo. It's been snowing all of Syria. So it's really cold right now, which is not normal to invade during. That's probably why they invaded in the winter, is because, hey, I mean, the rebels don't have that good of gear. We're at least Russian-backed. We're going to be able to make some movement here. And that's why I suspect they start in December of 2019. So continuing on, east of Tal Rifaat, in the northern area of Manbij, it's YPG-held territory, we saw A little bit of skirmishes yesterday, but right now we still see artillery bombardments, and it's in this sort of north area of Manbij. What do I suspect this is? I think it's totally a diversion. I think it's just Turkey trying to look like they're going to be attacking somewhere and try and get some of the pressure off of Idlib. That's what I suspect. Looks like it's not worked though, as now we don't see any skirmishes, we just see artillery. Moving on, east of the Euphrates River now, where I spent most of my time when I was in Rojava. And we see not much. We don't even see artillery bombardments along this entire Turkish/rebel-held territory. This blue area is FSA controlled, so it's kind of weird. There's green, there's blue. Any green or blue you see is rebel or Turkish, except for light blue. If you see light blue, like these oil fields, that's American, because oil fields. Moving on, we got in Darbasia, we see the first time in a couple of weeks a Russian and Turkish joint patrol. This is really, really big, and that's why I said that I think there's something political happening in Idlib right now, because we see them actually working together for the first time in weeks. Ever since that invasion in Idlib happened by the Russians and the Assad regime months ago, it ceased. It looked like things were really heating up in Syria. Well, now they're getting along, at least in Rojava. And in Kamishlo, I was there a couple times. I also have a subscriber there. He was talking about how 5 days ago there was an American patrol trying to cross through. As you can see, there's some Assad territory within Kamishlo. Well, the American patrol didn't stop at their checkpoint, so they started firing upon them. One of the Assad guys was killed, and there was a big uproar. He said that there was even an airstrike. It wasn't at anybody, but it was just an airstrike just to scare everybody off from the patrol. And it actually shook his building. There was paint coming off and stuff. Well, ever since then, 5 days ago, the Russians have been telling the populace, hey, reject the American presence. We don't like them. You don't like them. Let's reject it. And basically that's saying stop more of them. And what we saw yesterday was another convoy stopped, but no aggression. They actually stopped at the checkpoint. I mean, the Americans, they're just there for the oil fields. That's in Trump's words. That's in all their decisions right now. So again, this is just another win for the Russians and the Assad regime, because not only are they gaining actual ground in Idlib, but they're gaining political influence within Rojava, which is the U.S.-backed Kurds. But now it's looking like it's U.S.-backed, but it's also Russian-backed. And I don't see why the YPG would reject the Russian influence. I mean, they treat them better than the Americans. So, we'll see. The only other thing in Syria right now that we see is just some more arrests happening of ISIS sleeper cells in Deir ez-Zor, which was their last stronghold about a year ago. And in Raqqa, just south of Raqqa, we see Russian reinforcements arriving there. So, again, trying to get Russian influence into Rojava. Well, guys, that is it for Syria today. I hope you learned something today. Obviously, like I said, I'm a YPG vet. I'm a little biased, okay? I try my best not to be biased. I appreciate anybody who comes in here trying to find information about the Syrian Civil War. Not enough people do it. So for that, I thank you. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you didn't, a dislike. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.